Up next, we have the Shadow Minister for Transport and Infrastructure, Anthony Albanese. Please come over, Albo.
I didn't think Michelle knew my name. She's, what happened to Albo? Look, I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country and pay my respect to their elders past and present. And I am proud to stand in solidarity with the ESO workers and with the MUA members and with other members of the mighty trade union movement who are here not for themselves, but here for their fellow workers and here for a better Australia. Because what we have on the hill there, and I have to see it at close quarters, so feel a bit sorry for me, because they're even worse close up. Because what you see, out of every pore of their being, is hatred of working people. What you see is a passion, not for making a positive difference in people's lives, a passion for redistribution from the poor to the wealthy, to the big corporations. What you see is a neoliberal agenda that says that if government just gets out of the way, let the market rip, it'll all be okay. But we know that the market has no conscience. The market, let run rip, results in greater inequality, results in an entrenching of privilege, results in opportunity being put down, and results in also bad in the longer term economic results, even for their own interests. Because that's what we're seeing. We now have a Reserve Bank governor saying that wages are too low, that's a problem for the national economy. We now have a circumstance whereby we have a government that is prepared to use the apparatus of the state to abuse it against working people. That's what we saw with the raids on union offices given advance notice by Michaelia Cash, something that she denied when I asserted that her office had informed the media. We know that she misled the Senate not once, not twice, but 5 separate occasions. And we know that in the old days, when integrity counted, that's a sackable offence. And that is why Michaelia Cash should go, and she should go now. And we see their ideology and the impact it has, particularly in the area of the maritime sector. Now, one would have thought that the National Party of old, blokes like Blackjack McEwen, would have kind of liked the idea that it's a good thing around our coast to have Australian-made ships with Australian crew with Australian flags on the back. That any national interest test for an island continent such as ours, not just because of our economy, but because of national security interests and because Australian seafarers know where the channels are and know how to operate around our waters. Every major incident, like the Pacific Adventurer and the Shenang, have all been foreign flag ships that have caused catastrophic environmental damage around our coasts. For all of those reasons, we should be supporting an Australian shipping industry. When this mob said they wanted to stop the boats, people didn't think what they meant was Australian ships, but that's exactly what they've done. And when they do that, they're stopping Australian jobs. And it is not in the national interest for that to happen. Absolutely not. And yet, yesterday in the Senate, they tabled a report into the latest draft of their legislation that would just formalise the destruction of Australian shipping, and they gave it the tick because the Conservatives had a majority on that committee. Well, the Australian Labor Party members put in a dissenting report, and we won't back this flawed, terrible legislation that would destroy jobs and isn't in Australia's national interest. So there's something happening in this country. I get out and about a bit, and what is happening is that people are beginning to really mobilise against this government. Whether it be the Exxon workers, whether it be the MUA workers, the other unions that are represented here, whether it be welfare organisations such as Sambinis that John represents, all those groups in civil society coming together and saying, we need a better alternative. We need a better alternative. And Labor doesn't seek to occupy the government benches just because it's better than having them there. We seek government and political power to make a difference to people's lives, to give people opportunity, to give people jobs, to make sure that we have a more equal society, because a more equal society is also a better economy. It's not rocket science. You give someone who earns $1 million a year, $1.5 million, that's just $500,000 extra in the bank. You give someone on 50 grand, an extra 10 grand, they spend it, and it creates more jobs, and it keeps the economy going. That's the basis of the Reserve Bank Governor making the comments on wages that he has. That's why the attacks on the trade union movement are so self-defeating. We need a trade union movement. The bosses need a trade union movement. The economy needs a trade union movement, and we'll fight with the trade union movement.